Welcome to the first part in a 5-part series about how to easily make a 3D modeled character. In this first episode we are going to be covering how to make a human body. Here's one I've made earlier, and here are the references I used. These references are off the internet just by typing in human body reference. So let's get started. I'm just going to hide those, and we're going to start with the box. Like so, just a simple box, and then go into a front view. Move that just about the shoulder level, like so. And the side view, move it to line up in the same position. Now I'm just going to put a blank material on it, and then make the material transparent so I can see through it. And then I'm going to convert it to a body. From here I'm just going to shape it just a little bit to fit the body a little bit better. And then moving the bottom up so it's just in line with just above the nipples, like so. Then I want to make some extrusions at the bottom, so I'm going to select the bottom face and extrude down to just above the crotch area, and then I want to extrude once more, and I want to extrude just below the crotch area. I also want to click the top and extrude up once. We want this to be in line just before the neck, so where the neck joins the shoulders. I'm just going to scale that in so it fits a little bit better. And in so it's just a square around center, and then we're just going to extrude once up for the neck, like so. Now on this bottom piece, what we're going to do is we're going to select all of the vertices on the bottom and scale them in like so to the center of the crotch, and I think we're going to bring this down actually. There we go. So what I've done here is I've created two polygons that can then be extruded as legs. So this area here is now the groin and hip area. I'm also going to put in two connects just so I can just shape the waist a little bit, like so. There we go. Now I'm going to select all of the lines down the middle, shift clicking clicking one line, shift clicking the line above to select all, and I'm going to put connect down the center, just one, and then I'm going to delete half of this model. Oops. There we go. Like so. And then I'm going to apply symmetry. Which is there. And I want it on the y-axis. I don't want to slice along mirror. So now I have a duplicate, just mirroring the original. I'm just going to neaten that up a little bit because it's gone a little bit wonky. So the way I see both at once while editing is just pressing this button here. And I can move that in like so. So now I can only have to work on half. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make this arm joint here. Now this arm joint, as you can see on the arm's made of the top of the arm, which is connected to the shoulder, and then the rest of the arm. Sometimes you'll see people extruding straight out. I prefer to actually make the shoulder join, as it makes it animate more realistically. You don't get too much bunching under the arms when animating. Just going to move that over to the arm, like so. There we go. Then I'm going to go into my side view, that we looked at before, and I'm going to start shaping. So I'm going to start selecting polygons, moving them into about the right place. So just looking at the shape of the body. Moving everything to around the right position. Move that back a bit. In this image, the guy is actually leaning his head forwards. I'm going to keep my guy's head quite straight. Let's have a look at that. Yeah, it's coming along. So you can start to see the body coming into shape. Now, as we can see here, the arms themselves are actually smaller than the chest. So I'm just going to select the end, select the end polygon, just shrink that down and move it to the back, like so. As you can see, the body's starting to take a bit of shape now. So after I've done that, I'm going to start working on the legs. So I'm going to just going to change that back into a left view. Okay, so I select one of these polygons that I've created for the legs, and I'm going to extrude that out. We will be editing this out later, and I'm going to just drag that down to the knee. This groin area will be edited later on. So I want to rotate this so it's more flat, scale it in so it fits the knee. Do the same in the other views, like so. And then I want to extrude down once more, and extrude all the way to the ankle. And do the same again. So line up with the ankle, scale it to the correct size, or around that. So move into position. I also want to move this join to the center of the knee joint. You'll see why in a minute. And now I want to do the same for the arms. So I just want to extrude this under polygon here. I'll move that down to, oh, that's almost perfect. Down to the elbow. And then I want to extrude that down to the wrist. Again, it's going to need some editing. It's the right size, it's not going to be perfect first time. And I also want to bring the chest a little bit of a slope, as it's quite straight at the moment, like so. I'll bring a few in the arms as well. So here's the basic body. If I add a turbo, oh, 1 second. Next thing we need to do is delete the bottoms, where the hands would go, where the feet would go, where the head would go. So you should have these polygons selected and delete. So you should have nothing where the hands and feet and head would go. And now if I go to the top and add a turbo smooth, as you can see, I've started to get this body shape. Everything's in the correct place, and I also have loops around the legs, around the shoulders, around the arms, and around the neck. Now the last important point, because you can, after the next stage, finish there. If this is going to be a character that's wearing clothes, stuff over the top, and you just need a bodysuit, after the next step you don't need to go any further. However, after the next step I'm going to show you how to add bits of detail and how to shape this character. So if you want to stick around for that, please do. So I'm going to just turn off Turbo Smooth for a second, and I need to select the edges on the elbow, and I need to add a chamfer down the bottom here, and I need to add 2 chamfers. So we go into chamfer, click the box next to chamfer, click 2. The reason I've done that is because that has created an elbow joint. That means this can now bend. Then I need to do the same with the leg. So I'm going to chamfer that as well. And adding this extra detail in there allows these joints to bend more fluidly. It's also good to make them look a little bit more like elbow joints and knee joints by bringing them in and out. So the knee is rather large at the front, but it's very narrow at the back. So you're making almost a wedge shape, like so. That way it stretches more here and can compress more here. That's what the character currently looks like. So it's got its joints in the correct places. Now that we've created the base model, we can start adding details to make the character here look more like the reference. The first thing I'm going to work on is the arms. As you can see in the reference, the arms are more to the rear of the body, rather than dead in the center. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to our editable poly, click this button here to see it in the smooth version, and then start shaping the arms. So the way you do this is just looking at your reference, pulling certain things back, moving a few edges around, just to make it look a bit more realistic. Now, as you can see here, the shoulder isn't that large. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in a connect here, so I can start thinning the arms down, and it gives me a little bit more geometry to start moving around. Just going to make the model transparent. That way, a little bit more control how I shape the model. Like so. And then this one goes a little bit higher up here. And this face here needs to come in a little bit. So as you can see, I'm starting to add in the creases of where the different muscle groups meet up with each other. You can also add another one in there if you want to give them a little bit more muscle. So just adding one in the middle. This will take some time. It's just a case of pulling and pushing vertices around, pulling edges around, until you get the result that you want. Yeah, I think that needs to a little bit there. I think that whole assembly there needs to be thinner, like that. And then I want to shrink that down to the size of the wrist, like so. So as you can see, I've started adding the different muscle groups into the model. Just going to have a look at this in the transparent to see how it's going. I was close. It was indeed close. This whole assembly here needs to be moved to the rear, like so, and then That needed to be moved back a little bit. So as you can see, it's starting to fit both of these different outlines more effectively. And then again, the same with the legs. So the crotch is lined up correctly. However, these legs are not thick enough, as you can see here. So I'm just going to add in connect here, like so. And then I've got a few more vertices to play around with, just to shape the character a little bit more. Yep, just seems okay. There. That's fine there. Now this calf here is actually behind, so I won't bother playing around with that at the moment. Just gonna look at the side view. Yep, so I need to make sure that this knee lines up with this knee here. Just turn the servo smooth off so I can see a bit easier. So this knee here needs to be moved down, so this bottom part of the knee needs to move down the bottom of the knee here, and the middle part of the knee in the middle, the top of the top. So you see I've traced the kneecap with the edges that we had there. With a little bit of a more knobbled knee. I'm also going to scale this in a little bit at the top. As you see, it goes out. Sorry, in, out, in. So out, and then finally in again, like so. Just get it smooth, see what that looks like. Looks a bit more like a pair of knees. Yeah, looks more like a pair of knees. And then you can also add things like the calves, which are extruded out of the back. So you do a simple extrusion to get this shape, and then you just want to start tidying that up so it's not so sharp. So you bring it down to make it not so sharp at the top, bring it up so it's not so sharp at the bottom, like so. And it also needs to be moved, the whole carve needs to be moved inward slightly. That's the way the calves face. You can obviously add as much detail as you like in this, and it will take a little bit of time to do, especially if you want to add in a lot of detail. Also pull little bits in, like so. There we go. And it's the same principle for the chest. So what you want to do is you want to outline which polygons you want to select for the chest. I would say I probably actually want to add in a new line here, as there's no lines near where I would need them to be. So I've got a line here, and I want to select at the top of the chest and the bottom of the nipple, just where the nipple is. So it's on there, yeah. And then you want to extrude out when ready. So I'm just going to turn the texture back on and extrude. Now they're going to come off. They're going to come out quite sharp. That doesn't matter, because we're going to be shaping them so they're not so sharp. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to divide the chest a little bit, bring it down so it's not so sharp at the top. As you can see already, I'm starting to get that sloped chest shape already. Like so. In fact, that's pretty almost there. So come forward just a little bit, like so. It's quite muscly, this guy. You can turn down the muscle just by bringing the lines in towards the center. Like so. So I show you without turbo smooth, that's what it looks like currently. By moving the lines closer to the edge, you give it more of a sharp finish. Also going to separate ones at the bottom, like that. That's the shape I'm using. And then that's what it looks like when it's smooth. It also starts to give you this neck piece here, which I'm now going to work on a little bit more. I just bring this down like so to give us more of a neck. Bring these in like so. So it's starting to get that neck shape. The final thing I'm going to work on is the butt. It's quite a difficult piece to do. The way I like to model this piece is select the two polygons above the divide of the legs, extrude out to give us some more geometry to work with, and then I weld there we go. This polygon here to this polygon here. So I select these two vertices and weld, and that softens the edge here. Otherwise you get a very deep line across the leg. So from there I give it a bit of a softer shape. Like so. Let's have a look at that smooth. So it's again still a little bit sharp around here, but that can be buffered out in time. So that might be buffered out by putting this a bit further up, like so. Move this piece across. Move this in. Move it out. Like so. You also want to, at the top, to open it up a little bit to make a V shape. So here is our final character. The only thing now to do is to take off the turbo smooth, right click, convert to little poly, highlight the seam that goes down the middle, and then weld the two halves together. Like so. And then my turbo smooth, the characters are one piece. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Stay tuned for another episode. This is the end of the video. I hope you found it helpful. If so, like, subscribe, and comment down below.